भारत की कहानी
मीनाक्षी लेखी की जुबानी।
Namaste, hello friends. As a part of celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we ran a podcast series called Bharat ki Kahani Meenakshi Lekhi ki Zubani. 75 stories for 75 days run up to India's 75th Independence Day. Now, these stories, which were earlier available on the website of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Spotify and various other platforms, will now be available to NAMO app virtual meet as Bharat ki Kahani Meenakshi Lekhi ki Zubani. Happy listening, keep listening, and stay tuned to NAMO app. It's an initiative of NAMO app volunteers. I thank them all through you.
भारत की कहानी
मीनाक्षी लेखी की जुबानी। आजादी के लिए प्राणाहुति देने वाले 75 अनाम वीरों की 75 कहानियां। मीनाक्षी लेखी की जुबानी।
Namaskaram. Hello friends, Namaste. Here we are on the final day of the 75-day long journey wherein I brought you stories of our unsung heroes from all parts of the country. Today, on the historic occasion of our 75th Independence Day, I bring to you a story from Andhra Pradesh about Pingalli Venkayya, who was a freedom fighter and the designer of the Indian national flag, who became synonymous with the independent India. The national flag, as we see today, was based on a design developed by Pingalli Venkayya. The work done by Venkayya is hardly documented and not many people know about his contribution to the freedom struggle. Born in a Telugu family on 2nd August 1876 at Bhatla Penumaru in erstwhile Madras Presidency and present-day Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh, Venkayya served as a soldier in the British Army in South Africa during the Second Anglo-Boer War. During that time, Venkayya would often notice British soldiers saluting their national flag, the Union Jack. The act would fill them with pride. He understood its importance and carried a desire to design a flag for India. At the age of 19, Venkayya got the opportunity to meet Gandhiji. Being an ardent nationalist, he was a firm believer of Gandhian principles. The bonding that developed between Gandhiji and Venkayya lasted for over 50 years. Venkayya did his primary schooling from Challapalli and later went to Hindu High School in Machilipatnam. For further studies, he went to Colombo. In fact, he owns a PhD in geology and was an expert in the field of mining and history. Pingalli Venkayya had a keen interest in diamond mining. Venkayya was a multilingual man with fluency in Telugu, Hindi, Sanskrit, English, Japanese, Urdu and Arabic. He had other skills too. He showed great liking for cotton fabrics. In fact, he not just liked the fabrics spun out of cotton, but his passion led them doing more research on cotton. Venkayya was educated in Cambridge and grew up to become a polymath, a person who has interest in geology, agriculture, education and languages. After returning to India, Venkayya dedicated himself to creation of a national flag for our country. Venkayya is credited to have established a school in his village so that people would receive education. Venkayya again met Gandhiji in Vijayawada. He showed Gandhiji the book on flags of other nations that he had published in 1916. The book was called A National Flag for India and offered nearly 30 designs of what could be made into an Indian flag. Throughout Congress session between 1918 and 1921, Venkayya relentlessly put forward the idea of having a national flag for India. During this period, Venkayya worked as a lecturer at the Andhra National College in Machilipatnam. With the help of a fellow lecturer, he continued the quest to design India's own flag. Acknowledging the need for a national flag at the National Congress meeting, in 1921, Gandhiji asked Venkayya to prepare a new design. The rudimentary design of the national flag was presented, which was made on khadi. Initially, it consisted of two red and green bands symbolizing Hindus and Muslims, the two major religious communities present in the country. Venkayya came up with saffron and green colors for the flag later. After a few rounds of deliberation on the design, a few more additions were made. A spinning wheel, the charkha, was added at the center of the flag, which represented Swaraj and self-reliance. The third color, white, too, was added on the advice of Gandhiji to symbolize peace. This had been recommended by renowned educationist Lala Hansraj. So Pingalli added a white band over the red and green. The white represented peace and rest of the communities living in India. After the alterations, the first design of the flag was completed on 31st March 1921, which means that the first flag for India was completed 100 glorious years ago. Talking about Pingalli in Young India, Gandhiji wrote, "We should be prepared to sacrifice our lives for the sake of our national flag." Pingalli Venkayya, who is working in Andhra National College of Machilipatnam, has published a book describing the flags of countries and designed many models for our own flag. I appreciate his hard struggle during the session of Indian National Congress for the approval of Indian national flag. But it took 10 long years for the Indian National Congress to officially adopt the flag in 1931. The flag gave an identity to India and its people. Soon the flag came to be known as Swaraj flag. Venkayya wanted the Indian flag to command respect from all countrymen and all communities. For Venkayya, the aspiring nation needed a flag to integrate Indians within a common banner, one that stood for sacrifice, peace and unity. Post-independence, a national flag committee under President Rajendra Prasad replaced the charkha with Ashok Chakra. India officially adopted its national flag on 22nd of July 1947. The material that was used for spinning the first national flag happens to be khadi cotton. Today, the responsibility of preparing the Indian national flag rests with Khadi Development and Village Industries Commission. Due to this multifaceted personality, Venkayya is known by different names. He was known as Jhanda Venkayya for his role in designing the flag. An avid gemologist, he was also called Diamond Venkayya. For his deep knowledge of the Japanese language, people called him Japan Venkayya. He was also known as Patti Venkayya or Cotton Venkayya because he dedicated most of his time researching staple varieties of cotton and did a detailed study on a particular variety called Cambodia cotton. Venkayya died in utter poverty on 4th of July 1963. The last wish of Venkayya was to be wrapped in national flag. That wish was fulfilled. He was posthumously honored with a postage stamp in the year 2009. Subsequently, Shri M. Venkayya Naidu, the then Union Minister of Housing Affairs, renamed the AIR Vijayawada after Venkayya and unveiled his statue in its premises. As we celebrate the 75th year of India's independence, let us recall the contribution of such unsung heroes in our freedom struggle in this Amrit Kal. A very, very happy Independence Day. On this special occasion, I would like to recall a poem that was recited by Hon'ble Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, which aptly describes the significance of this historic occasion and paves the way for the Amrit Kal, that is the next 25 years, to our centenary in 2047. यही समय है, सही समय है, यही समय है, सही समय है, भारत का अनमोल समय है, असंख्य भुजाओं की शक्ति है, हर तरफ देश की भक्ति है, तुम उठो तिरंगा लहरा दो, भारत के भाग्य को फहरा दो, यही समय है, सही समय है, भारत का अनमोल समय है। कुछ ऐसा नहीं जो कर ना सको, कुछ ऐसा नहीं जो कर ना सको, कुछ ऐसा नहीं जो पा ना सको, तुम उठ जाओ, तुम उठ जाओ, तुम जुट जाओ, सामर्थ्य को अपने पहचानो, कर्तव्य को अपने सब जानो, यही समय है, सही समय है, भारत का अनमोल समय है. Friends, with this we come to the end of this series. We started this journey on 1st of June 2022 making a 75-day countdown to the 75th Independence Day. Each day, I brought you stories of our unsung heroes from every nook and corner of our country. Some of these names were heard, some were unheard, but their stories and their contribution to India's freedom movement and India's legacy was largely never acknowledged or appreciated. For decades, it was believed that only certain people contributed to India's freedom struggle. The contribution of many personalities from the northeast and the southern part of the country was left unacknowledged. Through this series, I tried to bring their contribution and their stories to the fore so that our children, the coming generation, does not forget their names and their significant contribution. We've had many such fighters in the freedom struggle whose contribution did not get recognition that they deserved. These 75 were just a few of them, without whom India could not have achieved its independence. There were several such unsung heroes who sacrificed their lives during freedom struggle of the country, but it is unfortunate that many generations do not know their stories. Under the visionary leadership of Shri Narendra Modi ji, the 21st century of India is correcting those mistakes made during 20th century through this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. This Mahotsav gives us an opportunity to celebrate the unsung heroes whose life can then act like a leading light and our inspiration for furthering the interests of India. It is a unique opportunity for all of us to come together to recognize the people and events that made us India. It is imperative for today's students to remain familiar with these heroes of our freedom struggle. When our students were apprised of the history of freedom struggle vis-a-vis their local surroundings, only then will we see the reverberations of it on the personality of the students. I urge you all, to those listening, to make that conscious effort to write and research more about such dignitaries and freedom fighters, as it will generate more awareness in the coming generations of our country. Through this podcast series, I pay my humble tribute to these unsung heroes whose sacrifice made India independent. I hope this series proves to be informative and a guiding light for every citizen, especially students. Friends, when we know our history better, that is when we can carve a better future. With this, I would like to wish you all a very happy 75th Independence Day. I hope you all to take a firm resolve to contribute to the development journey of India as we embark on a new path towards India at 100 in this Amrit Kal. With these words, I take your leave. Until next time, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
भारत की कहानी
मीनाक्षी लेखी की जुबानी। आजादी के लिए प्राणाहुति देने वाले 75 अनाम वीरों की 75 कहानियां मीनाक्षी लेखी की जुबानी आप सुनेंगे अमृत महोत्सव पोर्टल पर 1 जून 2022 से रोजाना।